When my younger sister Carol offered to help me prepare for the Henderson Charity Gala, something in my gut twisted. I'd been running Morrison Catering for 35 years, and Carol had never once offered to help. Not with the business, not with anything. But there she was, standing in my kitchen doorway with that eager smile I hadn't seen since we were girls, saying she wanted to finally spend time together and make up for lost years. I should have trusted my instincts. I was stubborn that way. Besides, she was family. The only family I had left besides my granddaughter Lily. Our parents died when Carol was just 16 and I was 22, and I'd raised her myself, put her through college, helped her through 2 divorces, bailed her out more times than I could count. She was my baby sister, and no matter how many times she disappointed me, I kept hoping she'd change. The Henderson Gala was supposed to be my masterpiece. 300 guests, senators, business leaders, and philanthropists all gathering for the city's biggest charity event of the year. My company had catered it for the past decade, but this year felt different. This year, I'd been asked to sit on the board. This year, Margaret Morrison wasn't just the caterer, I was becoming part of their world. Carol knew all of this. I'd made the mistake of telling her over lunch 2 months ago, watching her face as I described the recognition, the new clients already lining up, the expansion plans. She'd smiled and congratulated me, but her eyes stayed cold. I recognized that look. It was the same one she'd given me when I bought my first house, when I sent my daughter to private school, when my business won its first industry award. It was the look of someone keeping score in a game only they were playing. But I was 62 years old, and I'd learned something about family in those years. Sometimes you have to keep giving chances, even when you know better. So when Carol showed up that Monday morning, offering to help me prep for the gala, I let her in. "I've been thinking," she said, settling into the chair across from my desk at the commercial kitchen, "about how I haven't been there for you, about how you did everything for me growing up, and I never really thanked you properly." She reached across and squeezed my hand. "Let me help with this gala. Let me prove I can be the sister you deserve." My daughter Rebecca had died 7 years ago, cancer, sudden and brutal, and Carol had been there for exactly 1 day of it. But I swallowed that memory and told myself people could change. I wanted to believe it so badly. "Okay," I said. "I could use help with the prep work." The week leading up to the gala was strange. Carol showed up every day, on time, actually working. She chopped vegetables, portioned desserts, cleaned equipment. We worked side by side like we used to when we were young, before life had pulled us in different directions. Before my success and her failures had built a wall between us. On Wednesday, she brought her son-in-law Derek with her. "He's between jobs," she explained, and I didn't miss the edge in her voice. Thought he could help with the heavy lifting. Derek was 35, married to Carol's daughter Emma, and he had the kind of smile that made me immediately distrust him. Too white, too practiced. He called me Aunt Maggie and complimented everything, but his eyes were always calculating, always watching. He asked too many questions about the business. How much were we billing for the gala? How much did the insurance cost? Did I have a succession plan? "Just curious," he'd say when I'd pause too long before answering. "Emma's always saying how impressive your operation is. I'm in business consulting, you know, always interested in successful models." I caught him in my office twice that week, supposedly looking for the bathroom or trying to find Carol. The second time, my computer screen was on when I knew I'd locked it. I didn't say anything. I should have. Thursday afternoon, Carol made tea. She always made tea at 3 o'clock, just like our mother used to. Earl Grey, 2 sugars, splash of cream. It was one of the few things about her that hadn't changed. She brought me a cup while I was reviewing the final menu, set it on my desk with a gentle pat on my shoulder. "Remember when Mom used to make us tea after school?" she said softly. "You'd help me with homework at the kitchen table." "I remember," I said, touched despite myself. Maybe she really had changed. I drank the tea while we worked. It tasted fine. A little bitter maybe, but Earl Grey could be that way. By 4 o'clock, my chest felt tight. By 4:30, I couldn't breathe properly. By 5, I was on the floor of my kitchen, staring up at Carol's face as she screamed for someone to call 911. The last thing I remember clearly was her hand on my forehead, her voice saying, "Hold on, Maggie. Please hold on." And behind her, Derek, standing in the doorway with his phone out. But he wasn't calling for help. He was checking something on the screen, and he looked satisfied. Then, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital room, and I couldn't move. Not a finger, not a toe. I couldn't even blink on command. I could breathe barely with help from machines, but that was it. Complete paralysis. The doctors called it locked-in syndrome, a complication from the massive stroke I'd apparently suffered. Except I could think. I could hear. I could see. I was trapped inside my own body, screaming silently while everyone around me talked about me like I wasn't there. The damage is extensive, I heard Dr. Patterson tell someone. At her age, with this severity, I'm sorry, even if she regains consciousness, the quality of life. He trailed off, and I wanted to scream that I was conscious. I was right here, but nothing moved. Carol visited every day. She sat by my bed and held my hand and cried. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry you had to go through this." To anyone watching, she was the devoted sister. But I could see her eyes scanning the room, checking the monitors, making sure the nurses weren't close by. On the third day, Derek came with her. They thought I was alone, thought the door was closed all the way. I could see them through the gap, standing just outside my room. "How much longer?" Derek's voice was low, urgent. Doctor said it could be weeks, maybe months if she's strong. Carol sounded frustrated. "We need to move faster. We can't rush this. It has to look natural." "Natural?" "Derek, she's in a coma. No one's going to question." "She's not in a coma, she's locked in. There's a difference. They're still running tests." My heart monitor beeped faster. I could hear it, feel my pulse racing with the horror of understanding. They weren't talking about end-of-life care. They were talking about finishing what they'd started. "The lawyer said we need a death certificate before we can claim the business," Carol said. "The will names her as sole owner until she dies. Then it goes to Rebecca's estate, which means Lily, but she's only 19. We can contest it, say Maggie wasn't in her right mind when she updated it last year, but only after. After she's gone," Derek finished. "Did you keep the rest of the foxglove?" "Foxglove. Digitalis. That's what had done this to me. Not a stroke. Poison. And they were planning to finish the job." "In my purse," Carol said. "Same as before. We just need the right moment. When the nurses change shifts, maybe make it look like her heart gave out." Dr. Patterson said stroke patients can have cardiac complications, right? It'll just look like another symptom. Carol laughed, actually laughed. Poor Maggie. Always so trusting. Never could see what was right in front of her face. They walked away then, leaving me alone with the machines and the horrible knowledge that my own sister had poisoned me, that she was planning to kill me for my business. That everything, the offer to help, the sisterly bonding, the tea had all been a calculated plan to take what I'd spent my life building. I couldn't cry, couldn't scream, couldn't do anything but lie there and wait. But I could listen, and I could remember every word. The next day, my granddaughter Lily arrived. She was home from college for spring break, and the moment she walked into my room, I could see she'd been crying. She pulled a chair close to my bed and took my hand. "Gran," she whispered, "if you can hear me, I need you to know something. Something's not right." She looked over her shoulder, making sure we were alone. "I went to your house to get your things, and I found your computer was unlocked. You never leave it unlocked. And there were searches in the history, digitalis poisoning symptoms, locked-in syndrome versus coma, contesting a will in probate. Gran, you didn't search those things. The timestamps are from when you were already in the hospital." My heart monitor beeped faster again. Lily's eyes widened. "Oh my God! Gran, can you hear me? Can you understand?" I couldn't respond, but my heart rate kept climbing. She watched the monitor, then looked at my face. "Okay," she said slowly. "If you can hear me, I'm going to say some things, and I want you to try to change your heart rate. Get stressed. If the answer is yes, try to stay calm if it's no. Can you do that?" I focused every ounce of energy on fear, on panic, on anything that would make my heart race. The monitor climbed. "Yes! Okay. Lily was gripping my hand now. "Do you know who did this to you?" My heart rate spiked. Is it someone in the family? Higher. Is it Aunt Carol? The monitor went wild. An alarm started beeping, and Lily quickly stepped back as a nurse rushed in. Everything okay in here? The nurse checked the monitors, adjusted something. She just seemed agitated, Lily said, her voice shaking but controlled. I was talking to her about memories. Maybe she can hear us? It's possible, the nurse said, gentler now. Some locked-in patients have awareness. Keep talking to her. It might help. When we were alone again, Lily leaned close. I'm studying criminology at school, Gran. I know about evidence, about how to prove things. If Aunt Carol did this, we're going to catch her. But I need to know, is she planning to hurt you again? I made my heart race. Okay. Lily's jaw set in a way that reminded me of her mother, my Rebecca, fierce and determined. Then we need to act fast. I'm going to tell them I'm staying overnight with you. I'm going to record everything. And Gran, I promise you, we're going to get justice. She pulled out her phone and opened a voice recording app. Then she tucked it under my pillow, hidden but close enough to catch conversations in the room. Carol arrived an hour later, and this time she brought flowers. White lilies. Funeral flowers. How is she? Carol asked Lily, her voice dripping with false concern. No change, Lily said, and I could hear the edge under her words. The doctors say it's hour by hour. You should go home, sweetie. Get some rest. I'll stay with her tonight. That's okay. I want to be here. Lily, honey, you've been here all day. You need to take care of yourself. Your grandmother would want— I said I'm staying. Lily's voice was steel. Unless you have somewhere else you need to be, Aunt Carol? The air in the room changed. I couldn't see Carol's face from my angle, but I could imagine her expression shifting, recalculating. Of course not, Carol said smoothly. I just worry about you. You're so young to be dealing with all this. I'm 19. Gran was 22 when she raised you after Grandma and Grandpa died. I think I can handle sitting with her. It was a direct hit, and Carol knew it. She stayed for another 20 minutes, making small talk, checking her phone constantly. Finally, she left, saying she'd be back in the morning. The moment she was gone, Lily retrieved the phone from under my pillow. Did you hear that, Gran? The way she wanted me to leave? She's coming back tonight. I know she is. She was right. At 2 a.m, I heard the door open quietly. Carol and Derek slipped in, silhouettes against the dim hallway light. They thought Lily had gone home. They didn't see her, curled up in the corner chair, her phone camera recording everything in night mode. Quick, Carol whispered. She pulled something from her purse, a syringe, IV port. It'll look like her heart just stopped. Are you sure about this? Even Derek sounded nervous now. We've come this far. The gala is tomorrow, her big night. How poetic that she dies right before it. The business will be chaos. Easy for us to step in, take control before anyone knows what's happening. Derek took the syringe, moved toward my IV line. That's when Lily stood up and turned on the lights. Don't move, she said, her phone pointed at them. I've already sent the video to the cloud and to the police. They're on their way. Carol's face went white, then red. Lily, you don't understand. I understand that you poisoned my grandmother. I understand that you were about to kill her. I understand everything, Aunt Carol. She told me. She's in a coma. She can't tell you anything. She's not in a coma, Lily shouted. She has locked-in syndrome. She can hear everything, understand everything. And she heard you. On Wednesday, outside this room, talking about the foxglove, about finishing what you started, about taking her business. She held up another phone. I've been recording everything since yesterday, including the computer searches from her house, your browser history, Aunt Carol. You forgot to use incognito mode. Derek dropped the syringe and ran. He made it to the hallway before security, alerted by Lily's earlier call, grabbed him. Carol just stood there, staring at me, really looking at me for the first time since this started. And she must have seen something in my eyes, the awareness, the fury, the betrayal, because she started to cry. You weren't supposed to know, she sobbed. You were supposed to just go to sleep, not suffer like this. Maggie, I'm sorry, But she stopped, because we both heard it. A small sound, barely more than a breath, but it came from me. My mouth was moving, just slightly. My finger twitched. She's waking up, someone shouted. And then there were nurses everywhere, and Carol was being pulled from the room by police officers who'd arrived with impressive speed thanks to Lily's early call. The next hours were a blur of tests and doctors and gradually, miraculously, movement returning to my body. The digitalis had caused something that mimicked a stroke, combined with a temporary paralysis from the dosage. But it wasn't permanent. My body was fighting back, metabolizing the poison, healing. By morning, I could blink. By afternoon, I could speak in whispers. By evening, when the Henderson Charity Gala was supposed to start, I could sit up in bed and give my statement to the police. Carol Morrison is being charged with attempted murder and conspiracy, Detective Williams told me. Derek Chen is facing the same charges. We found the foxglove plants in Carol's backyard, dried and processed. Her internet history shows she'd been researching methods for months. And thanks to your granddaughter's quick thinking, we have video evidence of the second attempt. What about the gala? I asked, my voice still weak. The board postponed it, Lily said, sitting beside my bed and holding my hand. They said the guest of honor needs to be there, and they're willing to wait until you're ready. I looked at my granddaughter's smart, brave, fierce Lily and felt my heart break and mend at the same time. You saved my life. You raised Mom, Lily said simply. And Mom raised me to be strong, to fight for what's right. This is what family does, Gran. Real family. Carol's trial was 6 months later. I was there, standing on my own 2 feet, watching my sister avoid my eyes as the verdict was read. Guilty on all counts, 15 years minimum. Derek got 10. Emma, Carol's daughter, came to see me after the sentencing. She was crying, apologizing for her mother, for her husband, for not seeing what was happening. I should have known, she said. The way Mom talked about you, the resentment. I should have seen it. We see what we want to see in the people we love, I told her. I wanted to believe Carol had changed, that she loved me like I loved her. But love isn't enabling someone's worst instincts. Sometimes love means holding people accountable. The Henderson Gala finally happened in September, 8 months after it was originally scheduled. I wore my best suit and walked into that ballroom with my head high, Lily on my arm. When they announced Morrison Catering's 30th year as the event's caterer and my new position on the board, the applause was thunderous. But the best moment came later, when I was packing up the kitchen and found a note tucked into my jacket pocket, from Lily. Gran, you taught me that success isn't just about building something. It's about building something worth protecting, something worth fighting for. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. Love. Your granddaughter, and future business partner, if you'll have me. I called her that night and told her yes. Morrison Catering would become Morrison & Morrison. Because that's what you do when someone proves they're really family, not by blood, but by choice and action and love. The story continues. Pay attention to the quiet signs, the questions that probe too deeply, the concern that feels calculated, the help that comes with conditions. Trust your instincts when something feels wrong. Document everything. Tell people you trust when you feel unsafe. And remember, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the 19-year-old who refuses to leave your bedside. Sometimes it's the people who fight for you when you can't fight for yourself. Sometimes it's choosing who gets to be in your life based not on obligation, but on trust. Carol made her choices, and she's living with the consequences. But I made my choices too, to rebuild, to trust again, to let Lily step into a role her mother should have filled. To keep the business I spent my life building and share it with someone who values it not for what it's worth, but for what it represents. Every day, I make tea at 3 o'clock, Earl Grey, 2 sugars, splash of cream, and every day, I'm grateful to be alive to drink it. If this story resonates with you, share it, like it, watch it with someone you trust. And if you see the warning signs in your own life, act. Because you deserve to be surrounded by people who want to lift you up, not tear you down. Thank you for listening to my story.